Welcome to Environmental Systems and Societies. Today we're going to talk about the summer assignment, which is the internal assessment. You can access Google Classroom. The code is MPMKASE. The assignment for the internal assessment is already posted. I'm Mr. Dutton, and this is awesome.
Today we're going to explain to you why ESS is the most important class you will take in high school.
We'll talk about, in this class, we'll talk about how climate change impacts the environment.
We will talk about how climate change is discussed and affects politics.
And how economics impacts the environment.
We'll talk about how alternative energy methods provide new opportunities.
All the different kinds of pollution and how that impacts the environment.
We'll find connections where culture intertwines with the environment.
And how the environment affects poverty and how poverty affects the environment.
ESS is a one-year class, which means we are going to move at light speed. There is a lot to cover, and you are going to be preparing for an external assessment while you design your own internal assessment, and you will be completing a group 4 project with partners. Your IA, as you will come to know it, or internal assessment, is essentially your own experiment where you get to explore a topic of your choosing and design and implement an experiment to learn more about it.
So a few guidelines about this internal assessment. It is a 6 to 9 double-spaced page essay. It's paper, but it's based on an experiment that you design based on an issue that you choose, and you are designing all of the steps, and then you are applying what you experiment on to the local and the world as a whole.
Your IA is assessed or graded on 6 different criteria. The identifying the context is your work and background research finding information on your topic. Your planning is the procedures that you will design. The results, analysis, and conclusion is where you will collect data and analyze that data and form your own conclusion. Your discussion and evaluation is where you will discuss the impacts of your research and the validity of it. The application is where you will discuss how your data applies back to the local or global context that you identify. And your communication grade is simply how well organized your final report is.
Now, we're not expecting you to do all that this summer, because we're going to be giving you 30 hours during the school year to be able to do that. And that's going to be spread out from August through January. All right, you're going to have some time after each unit for the first 4 units. And then in January, we'll have a whole bunch of time right before it's due in order to basically put everything together, write everything, make sure that you're all set. But 30 hours will go quick. So that's why the summer assignment is so helpful, in order to give you a chance to start everything and to get your data together. So how are you going to spend this time in class? Well, we're going to be able to explain the IA to you. You're going to have time to work on all of those components that Mr. Tout just explained and ask questions of us. You'll have time to consult with us to figure out what's the best way to do each part. And we'll have time to check in with you, monitor how you're doing.
So how you approach your IA. You are going to be collecting both quantitative and qualitative data. That is numbers and data that you would collect with the 5 senses. There are a lot of ways you can collect that data. You can do a nature-based field work where you go out into the field and observe the world around you. You can do field manipulation experiments where you're collecting data from a variety of places around Cleveland and even outside of Cleveland. You can analyze population data using citizen science projects or other resources online. And of course, you can do laboratory work where you analyze any of the materials that you collected in the lab, or design an experiment that only occurs in the lab. Many of the procedures that you will develop might actually use a combination of all of the above.
And so how are you going to make sense of your data? Well, and again, these are things that we'll go over during the year, but we're going to estimate how much plant growth there has been. And that's one technique. Right? You're not necessarily going to use it for every experiment. You will be using Google Sheets a lot. You are going to make some calculations. Again, we'll be going over those calculations, how you make an ecological footprint or water footprint, or even a carbon footprint.
When you go to identify the context, you are conducting your own background research. The goal here is to establish the environmental issue, be it local or global, that you want to focus on or that you find the most interesting. You're then going to develop a research question that allows you to get at that topic. As you discuss and explain your local and global topic, you are going to want to conduct background research and collect resources that you can cite. This is not all information, it's coming straight out of your brain. You want to find other people who have researched this and find what they have done. You're going to develop your research question and explain how that research question allows you to learn more about the global or local topic that you identify. Take a moment to think about any issues that you have heard about or that you would like to study more. And please feel free to reach out to us over Google Classroom, email, or keep an eye out for optional Zoom sessions where we will go over questions you guys have and ideas you have on your issues.
And so once you come up with the issue, then you need to work on the planning part. All right, so these two components, coming up with the issue and planning your experiment, are the two most important things to work on over the summer. So this is where you come up with steps or procedures or methods in order to gather this relevant data. And this relevant data can be data that you collect. It can be data that someone else collects. That's secondary data. It can be qualitative, meaning the descriptions, all right, in words, or quantitative, which is numbers, all right? I think most of you are probably going to focus on primary quantitative data, which is numbers that you collect yourself. You need to make sure you're designing a way that you can collect enough of that data to be able to answer your research question, and so that others can repeat it. You need to be able to explain it in a way that others can do it the same way that you did it, and explain why you use those particular methods and not other ones. So like Mr. Tout just said, come up with ideas that you have for these procedures. This part can be really difficult, coming up with a way to actually experiment on the issue that interests you. So reach out to us through Classroom, email, any of these avenues that you have. Right now I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures from what we did with the students last year when we were in school, when we had that opportunity to be with everyone at the end of the year, with a sampling of different experiments of collecting primary quantitative, primary qualitative, secondary quantitative, secondary qualitative data so that you can see what that looked like.
So your summer assignment, you want to use the ideas that come to your mind and the techniques that are available to you and design your initial environmental experiment. You want to try and collect as much data as you can over the summer. Start with your big question. Think about the topic you want to explore and what you actually want to know about it. Develop your hypothesis. What do you think is going to happen and why? Right? Remember the if, then, because statements that you've done throughout your whole science career. Identify the variables, right? Your independent variable, the one that you are manipulating, and the dependent variable, the one that you're observing. And finally, the procedure that you're going to use to test that hypothesis. We are here to help. You are not doing this alone. You should talk over your ideas with your classmates. You should talk over your ideas with your teachers. Do what you can to keep an ear, keep an ear out for the optional online Zoom classes that we're going to offer that are there to help. Reach out to us over Google Classroom or email. Again, don't try to do this on your own, and don't try to do it all at once. These are things that are much better if you can chunk them in small bits, do them here and there, and then follow through with your classmates and with your teachers.
Have a wonderful summer. Stay healthy and stay safe, and we will see you soon.
Looking forward to working with you guys next year.